In this video, I'm going to talk about how the Traveler's Notebook system completely transformed my journaling experience. Pardon my voice, I am with a cold yet again. I am so happy in this setup, and it really sparks a lot of creativity for me and just allows me to always be journaling and always have that journaling mindset. So the core concept with Traveler's Notebooks, these are the two sizes. This is Passport, this is regular. And the cool thing about Travelers is that, one, you don't have to be an avid traveler to use it. You know, it's meant for traveling, but I certainly haven't traveled in quite a while. But there are modular, what are they called, inserts that you can use in here, and you can stuff your notebook with as much as like 5 inserts, or you can go down to 1. There are a ton of different ones, and it makes it really cool, so you can kind of have everything in one. And I've talked about how this one is my everyday carry, and so I have both my journaling and planning in here, and I carry this wherever I go because it is kind of my like analog second brain, and I am super loving it. I will take a moment to talk about false starts with the Traveler's Notebook because that's something that keeps coming up. These I got from my spouse back in like a year and a half ago for my birthday. I wasn't sure which size I wanted, so he was so generous and kind and got me both sizes. I really love the idea of a small one because at the time I was using field notes for daily bullet journaling, and I really liked having everything in a really small notebook that I could put in my pocket and go. And yes, while this is a lot chunkier than what a field notes takes up in your bag or your pocket, it has the same sort of size. So with false starts, I had a few false starts. I had no idea how to use this on the get-go, so I'm gonna put this to the side. Especially with the Passport, I wasn't sure how to use it. I really had no idea. So I had a lot of different ways that I was using this undated weekly. I started out using this one as a health tracker journal, then a gratitude journal, then a business planner, and now I'm honestly not using it at all because I moved everything into my regular size. But yeah, I liked this for a while because it allowed me to kind of have just the right amount of space for tracking my food, because at that point I was worried that certain foods were a trigger for my physical health. And then in this type of notebook, I was using the bullet journal method kind of. I was just kind of continuing what I was doing on my field notes in here in a blank insert, and just kind of like tracking things really quickly to be able to rapid log and like put notes that I needed to do for the day. I think one of the false starts that I had with this one was that I super didn't like the blank notebook because my handwriting is awful. It's just so hard to read. And while there is a pencil board that you can use, oh, it looks like I lost it. There is a pencil board you can use which has grid on it. Yeah, I don't have my Passport sized pencil board, but I have this one. So you can see that when you put it behind, you can see the grid behind it, and you can sort of start to use it as a guide. But I was just using it kind of really loosey-goosey. It did inspire me to draw a little bit more, but otherwise, I really didn't like the openness of the plain thing, so that was a problem. The other problem for me that I had that caused a false start was journaling in here can be a little bit frustrating. Things don't stay down as much. I've since learned to kind of just deal with it. Like, it's not something that necessarily goes away, but you learn how to cope with it better, either through accessories or just through sheer will. So I remember watching another content creator starting to write with the pencil board like this. Where's my pen? I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm losing everything. Oh, there it is. So she would have her fountain pen and write with the pencil board down and hold it, and by its nature of being open with a big piece of whatever, it stays open. So that's nice. The other thing you can do is use clips. So that's been really helpful. I really only have this one clip. I have another one somewhere, but I don't use it. I feel like usually like with one clip you can get away with it. If you're over here, you can put the clip over here. If you're over here, you just kind of hold it down with your hand naturally, and it goes like that. So that's something that I had an issue with. And the other thing I did with a false start was kind of, I just wasn't sure that this was the right size for me. I do not have my original insert in here, which makes me really sad. I kind of like scanned it and tossed it, but it was an insert that was made by a third party called Good Inkpressions, and it was with the Tomoe River paper, which is a lot thinner than this. And it also, instead of having the 0.5 millimeter grid, it had like a 0.35, so it was super duper tiny, allowing you to fit more information on passport size. But in the end, it didn't stick for me, and so I kind of like waffled back and forth with using this and then not using it. Overall, I really liked having this as like my first go at the Traveler's Notebook system, because it's basically a wallet. It's a nice size, whatever, and you can have your, driver's license and a credit card in here, which makes it for a really nice everyday carry. But yeah, in terms of that, like, you might have to start, this is a really long preamble, guys, I'm so sorry, but you might have to just experiment and see what works best for you. And if you're watching videos of creators who use Traveler's Notebook, kind of like get an idea of what size you might feel most comfortable in. If you're used to like a larger, like a standard Leuchtturm, and pardon me, I don't know the actual size of it, but I think it's like, it's either B6 or I think it's B6, but it's about this big. The regular Traveler's Notebook would end up being a better size for you. If you're a Fields Notes person or like a mini Leuchtturm or Moleskine person, the passport size might be a better option for you. But it might take a couple of experiments and efforts on learning how to use it so it best fits your needs and your desires for a planner. In terms of creating your own unique journaling system, I've kind of touched on the fact that there are custom inserts for both planning and sketching and bullet journaling. So let me just quickly go through what's in here. Just like in my passport, I have an undated weekly in here, and then a memo side over here, which makes it really nice for me because I can keep notes over here, and then planning stuff and tracking over here. And then for journaling, let me show you some. So these are my Traveler's Notebook regular journals that I have. I've really enjoyed this size for journaling. I stuck mostly with dot grid. These are the Traveler's Notebooks inserts themselves, they're just the plain dot grid ones. And I found this to be a really good size. I would kind of go between using the 0.5 grid and just ignoring it so that I would write smaller. Once I was like going through this, I really, really wanted to try a smaller dot grid. And so here's just a quick flip through of my second one. And I was just, finding that I really enjoyed writing a lot smaller in these. So actually this is a really good page to come to. I ordered the Serica Studio dot grid she uses lined grid inserts, and I'll show you in a second. So yeah, I had my eye on these for a while because the Serica Studio inserts are the same size in terms of width or thickness. So excuse me while I give you a little ASMR detour here. But yeah, you can see in terms of like a new insert, I mean, this is going to be hard to kind of discern, but this is your Traveler's Notebook insert, and this is a brand new Serica Studio insert. And because the Serica Studio ones uses the Tomoe River paper, you end up getting more pages per insert. So that's been really, really cool for journaling, and you can see the size difference for the grid. Yeah, you can just see how much smaller this is. It's a 4 millimeter grid, I believe, but just really, really nice, really good attention to detail in these notebooks, and they're completely thread bound, which I love. Yeah, continuing on. So in terms of decoration, I don't do a ton of decoration. By nature, I am a minimalist planner and journaler. I will use ephemera where I have it, but I will not go out of my way to kind of pull out anything that comes into my life in terms of ephemera. So, a cute drawing that my kid did, cool. I will doodle every once in a while in here, which is fun and cool, but like low pressure, right? There's not a whole lot of stuff. Maybe stickers from favorite restaurants. I certainly love washi tape and stickers, but yeah, it's really up to you in terms of personalization, like how much you want to customize and decorate your inserts and your spreads. Here's a good example of when we were in New York and I was using a lot of ephemera to pre-decorate the spread and then write around it. So I wanted to capture like my bagel and some Korean barbecue that we did, and also the Metro card because we were on the subway a ton. And here's another example that I love to share. I was kind of in a kick where I didn't want to be buying a whole lot of extra stationery and really just leveraging my current supplies. So that would be like just a inking marker and my fountain pen. And I really wanted to just use my spreads as a chance to doodle and practice some drawing in a low pressure way, but just as a really nice way to decorate without using anything external and just practicing being creative. So in terms of journaling itself, I think it's really cool to be able to do whatever style you need in the moment. So you can see I'm kind of going between prose journaling, where I'm just kind of doing a stream of consciousness, versus rapid log journaling. And I made this change because I realized as I was going through 2024 journals that I was getting a lot more out of rapid log journaling in terms of review. So while stream of consciousness journaling can be really nice in the moment to help process emotions and get your thoughts down on paper, I really do think that rapid log journaling is something that is beneficial both for you when you're using your journal, when you're writing, and also when you're reviewing, because it just makes it a lot more digestible. You can see like I started to do the Susanna Conway Unravel Your Year in here. So I'm not using all of the journal just for processing. I'm also using it as a spot to go through reflections and things of that nature. In terms of what I journal about, sometimes if you feel stuck, which is so easy to feel stuck when you're journaling, especially if you don't have a thriving journaling practice or an existing journaling practice, I really like to ask myself like, hey, how are you doing? Even just asking that question of like, how are you? How am I doing right now in this moment with this pen in my hand can be really powerful. It seems so basic, but it really is so important to check in with ourselves and be mindful of our emotions and our journey in the moment. Another thing could be a little bit more tactical, like what are you doing lately? Like what are you doing right now? What are you doing lately? Did you go to the store? Did you go to a museum? Do you have plans to go see a movie tonight? Like stuff like that. I really do love rapid journaling for random stuff throughout the day that comes up. So anything that sparks a thought or an emotion, I will just go through and write it down, which, because I have everything in here, it ends up being a great reason for me to have this open and ready to go on my desk at any given time. That way I can just jot something down with low pressure. Like you'll see some of these have a timestamp just to say like this is what we were doing at that point. But otherwise it's just kind of journaling in an interstitial way to where you're capturing thoughts and emotions during the moment. In terms of other stuff you can do with journaling, you can do like habit trackers, either in a spread like this, like a bullet journal type spread, or you can do it in your book. You can also do it in your like planner if you wanted to capture like reading a certain thing every day or whatever it is. You could just have it here and check it off. Another thing that's kind of fun to do is like what are you consuming? So Chris and I watched this movie the other night, which was interesting, and good to kind of take note of that and then say like, oh, did I wake up with a stiff neck because of this very stressful, gritty movie or not? If you discover a new song or you see a new YouTube video and you want to be able to take note of it, I think I took note of a video up here that my friend sent me that I thought was really cool, talking about intuitive eating. Anyway, I think it's just really nice to be able to see like what you were doing on the day and what you were consuming and how it affected you. The other thing that could be really cool is a communication journal. So my husband and I at times have passed an Apple Note back and forth to each other where we're just kind of riffing and putting down our thoughts. I've seen recently in social media that a group of friends might pass an analog book back and forth and annotate it and write notes to each other. So I think that's something that you could do too. Like, instead of writing letters to friends, you could actually mail the notebook back and forth or pass the notebook back and forth, which would be really, really fun and unique way to kind of capture everything. Or if you're meeting up for a journaling session, you could also each do like a page for the other person, and then they have that in their journal forever. So that really wraps up my journey with Traveler's Notebook for journaling. Again, well, actually not again. I don't even think I mentioned this, but maybe in passing. But the thing that kind of was an unlock for me with Traveler's Notebook is that because this is my everyday carry, I am more likely to use it because there are a few points in the planner itself where I can check in with myself during the day. With the rapid log, it also allows me to just kind of check in with myself midday, being like, oh, I feel like my cold is getting better or worse or whatever. And also, you know, check-ins like this where you have a habit tracker or a mood tracker. And just because there are things that you might want to come in here and do and say like, oh, you know what, today I actually did journal and I actually did meditate. It gives you that dopamine hit, and it also just allows you to pick it up and start leafing through it, which is a really nice experience. It just gets you in here, and then you might be more likely to open it up and start journaling because something is happening, something noteworthy, or just kind of go through and check out your plans. So that's been a huge unlock for me. In terms of where to buy Traveler's Notebooks things, yes, you can certainly get them at big box online stores, but there are a few shops that I particularly love. I always try and shop small, so I will leave those links in the description for you to check out. I really do think that the Traveler's Notebook system, it has a transformative potential because it is not just a journal. It has the customizable inserts, and you can really tailor it to what you need and what you like to do. It can be as big or as little as you want it to be. I just think it is a great option for journaling and planning all in one. I hope this video was helpful and enjoyable. If you liked it, please hit that like button and hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.